The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. On the weekend of September 12th and 13th, StarCityGames.com returns to Charlotte, North Carolina for back-to-back 5Ks. Standard on Saturday and then Legacy on Sunday. These events will feature hundreds of players, 10 grand in cash prizes, a Magic 2010 Cruise Qualifier, Magic artists Mark Poole and Doug Chaffee, Magic 2010 booster drafts, and tons of fun. So make plans to join us at the SCG 10K Charlotte weekend, and we'll see you there.
Hi, this is Paul Rietzel. Welcome to the Magic Show.
Say hi there to my bad body double. Is this my bad body double trouble? Oh no, my bad body double. I've got bad body double trouble. Oh, she's trouble. She's trouble. She's trouble, alright. Yeah. Sometimes I'm honest to lose.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of The Magic Show. This week we've got a ton of Zendikar spoilers to go over, including my exclusive preview Electropotence, my jaw-dropping unveiling of Warren Instigator, and many more. We will also take another look at Planechase as it's going to be released this weekend. Let's go! Alright ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This past Monday I waited with bated breath as Wizards of the Coast shipped me the final segment of Warren Instigator. In the past few weeks we went over his name, cost, type line, rarity, and flavor text, but his second ability was a mystery. Was it a landfall ability? Was it a power and toughness pump for a cheap double striker? Was it more? Oh yeah, it's more. I emailed Aaron Forsyth on Monday, chomping at the bit. Come on man, let me have it, I screamed, and so he did. Check this guy out. Oh my god! Oh my god! That's right, Magic players. A double freaking striking Goblin Lackey. Yes, the creature that has been banned and extended and almost banned in Legacy is now twice as expensive but twice as powerful. And yes, that is Siege Gang Commander in Magic 2010. And yes, this is the biggest gift Wizards of the Coast has given Legacy players in years. Just when you thought Goblins weren't good enough, they give you a double striking ass whooping to beat up your opponents with. Can you say 8 Goblin Lackeys in your Legacy Goblin deck? I knew you could. Lackey, Instigator, asses to the red zone on the double. This guy will be insane not only because he's Goblin Lackey, which we all know is ridiculously awesome and able to do absurdly unfair things with creatures like Goblin Warchief and the new Goblin Chieftain for Magic 2010, but he's also a very efficient double striker in his own right, fitting right into an aggressive red deck with ease. My smile will be permanent and my jaw is dropped and I don't know what to say. Some suspected that Warren Instigator would be Goblin Lackey 2.0, aka bigger, badder, and uncut, but hot damn, this is ridiculous! Over these past weeks I've underestimated this guy time and time again, not imagining for a second thinking that it would actually be able to put 2 Siege Gang Commanders onto the battlefield with just one swing, but I was wrong, and this will be straight up dumb in Legacy where you have access to all the awesome goblins that made Onslaught Standard so warped. But don't underestimate the power of free changelings and power for lore and block goblins and extended either. Goblin Lackey was seen as overpowered because of the speed you could pump goblins out on the field, and Warren Instigator will be revered not only for his blowout potential, but his ability to be awesome in Legacy goblins and red-green aggro decks. When a single giant growth becomes 8 damage on turn 3, you best watch your back. Thanks again to Wizards of the Coast for this incredibly awesome slow roll of one of the most powerful goblins ever printed. I, for one, think it's a killer mythic rare that will be a chase card for some time, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. So what about my exclusive spoiler that's going around? No slow rolling involved. Well, this go around I've got a tasty enchantment that has one of the best namesakes in Magic. Check out Electropotence. Alright, so it's no Warren Instigator, but it's probably a hell of a lot better than you think it is right now. Before we start with the upside, let's talk about the downside. The downside of this card is that it takes 6 mana to do anything. That's a lot of investment for what may be as little as 3 or 4 extra damage. When a pro looks at investment versus payoff, they normally want their goodies immediately and don't want to waste a turn investing in something for the long haul, so most PTQers and pros are just going to dismiss it. Alright, so what about the positive aspects? This card is chock full. First of all, yes, there is a mana investment, but it makes every creature you play essentially have an awesome kicker of 2R to kill another creature or even another player. It also gets better because of its wording. Note that the creature doesn't have to be cast from your hand. What does that mean? It means unearthed creatures got really good, and for 5 mana your Hellspark Elemental could look like a pseudo-ball lightning. Hell's Thunder could be more deadly than its rival Demigod of Revenge, and Sidrax's Spectre could deal a whopping 6 while making them discard a card to boot. Hell, for as little as 6 mana, your ball lightnings could be rocking 12 damage. Wow! Take a look at this recently spoiled Zendikar card. Bloodghast. See how well this would work at Electropotence? You kill it, you play a land, you then play 2R to deal an additional 2 damage. I love it when a plan comes together. But what about damage triggers? Note that Electropotence has the creature itself dealing the damage, meaning cards like, say, Warren Instigator could be kicked by Electropotence and then allow you to drop a Siege Gang commander into play. Hypnotic Spectre will make them discard at random immediately, Lightning Reaver will immediately begin to build charge counters, and so on. Keep a lookout for creatures in Zendikar who have effects that occur when that creature deals damage to an opponent, such as Veldalkin Heretic and Conflux, and how Electropotence can make them even more powerful. This is a fantastic card for the kitchen table. It has potential for impacting tournament tables, and besides, making your monsters even scarier is never a bad thing in Magic. I look forward to reading your reactions and the feedback. Alright, so let's go over some more delicious spoilers from this awesome new set. Up first is Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. With such powerhouses as Demigod of Revenge, Flame Javelin, and Boggart Ramgang leaving the format, new and crazy Red Deck wins cards must emerge, and Valakut is there to pick up the slack. The issue with any aggro or burn-based deck has always been running out of gas. Valakut bypasses silly things like protection from red by having the land itself deal the damage, as well as making you smile with each mountain you top deck. No longer will you be cursing your land draws, and in many instances you will be hoping for a mountain on top. That is a very different way of thinking about a red deck moving forward, and I like it a lot. Lastly, I want to mention Patrick Chapin's awesome idea to use Scape Shift as a way to instantly kill your opponent from nowhere. If you play Scape Shift and sacrifice 7 lands, you get 1 Valakut and 6 mountains. All of the whenever a mountain enters the battlefield triggers from Valakut stack simultaneously after Scape Shift resolves, so suddenly you deal 18 damage out of nowhere to win the game. Too cool. Moving on, how about an incredible 2-drop common? Have you seen Play to Geopede? I don't know if you realize it, this guy is nuts. I look at this guy much like I looked at Putrid Leech, another incredible common that was underestimated on release. Both look fairly innocuous, but upon closer inspection you realize that they are powerhouses. Particularly in a land-based block, Play to Geopede rewards you for simply playing Magic, and that's never a bad thing. I mean, thinking about playing Terramorphic Expanse on turn 3 and using it just made Play to Geopede a 5/5 first striker on turn 3. Add in Rampant Growth, he's a 7/7. This is turn 3, folks, using cards that aren't fringe or out there, but those that could realistically be seen in a ramp style or landfall based deck. Scary stuff. But who plays with Terramorphic Expanse at the tournament tables? I think you'd much rather play with Teetering Peaks. This means your turn 3 Teetering Peaks made your plated Geopede a 5/3 first striker charging into the red zone. And hell, if we're going to dream big, let's just say they blocked it with a 1/1 and you crushed it using Colossal Might. Now that's a whooping. So we've talked about some really cool commons and rares, but what about the mythics? Wasn't I going nuts over Sorin last week? Let's take a look at the final card. Alright, so the second ability has been revealed, and believe it or not, I think this is just the ability needed to deal with Baneslayer Angel. The key to Baneslayer Angel is that the life gain is what makes it so powerful and gets you away from death's door. Sorin hits the battlefield, saves your life total is what I say it is, Doomblades Baneslayer Angel, and moves on from there. While I understand this isn't Innocent Blood, or Bartering Blood, or Side of Fries with Blood, which is kind of gross, I understand how this combats powerful strategies, particularly those built around the most insane white 5-drop in Standard, and shows how manipulative a powerful vampire can be. I'm hoping Wizards loves mono black control as much as I do, as they are trying their best to give it the tools to succeed. Note that Mind Sludge also fits perfectly into the Orb of Insight, another powerful mono black control card that could further this archetype everyone loves to throw together, though it hasn't worked in years. But what about Chandra? Last week we learned she was a whopping 6 mana and had 5 loyalty to start out. Now we can see her first 2 abilities. Alright, so these aren't smack you upside the head awesome abilities like, say, Garruk Wildspeakers are, but hell, even Garruk was shunned at first like all of the Planeswalkers when they debuted. Anyway, her first ability is simply ripe for unearthed creatures, whether they be Sidraxa Spectre, Hellspark Elemental, Hell's Thunder, or so on, and even really good with a second ability as well. Speaking of, that ability is absolutely awesome when Chandra is the last card in your hand and you're playing against a slow, grinding control deck. Control decks value card advantage higher than anything else, and robbing them of this is probably the most powerful thing you can do to them. Sure, you both get to draw 3, but who runs better on fewer cards than a red deck? Lastly, this really powers up Megrim-based strategies and casual decks, and I see all sorts of fun being had with Underworld Dreams and Keterek Parasite as well. All I know is I hope her ultimate ability has something to do with playing spells for free from your graveyard, something scary enough that you would never ever want it firing off. Fingers crossed. As the first of 3 spoiler weeks officially begin next week on MagicTheGathering.com, you can rest assured you'll hear more about the awesomeness of Zendikar right here on the show. The big release this weekend, however, isn't Zendikar, it's Planechase. The planes have been fully spoiled at this point, and I want to spend a few moments talking about my favorite planes and how they work. Firstly, let's quickly go over the Planechase rules one more time. Planes are revealed at the beginning of the game before anything else happens. A plane's owner is whose turn it is, and you can roll the planar die at sorcery speed each turn, paying a colorless mana payment for each roll beyond the first. On the first Chaos symbol roll, you trigger the Chaos ability on a plane, and on the Planeswalker symbol, you reveal a new plane at random and trigger any when you Planeswalk to or when you Planeswalk away from abilities. Got all that? Alright, let's take a look at my favorite art from the set, Immersturm. My second favorite piece of artwork is Oteria. Just beautiful. These planes add a whole new aspect to multiplayer Magic, whether they're killing creatures with Immersturm or giving your spells flashback with Oteria. I love how Chaos abilities are sometimes huge, like Oteria providing you an extra turn, or how about Raven's Run, where you get a free copy of Incremental Blight. The artwork on these pieces, as I've said, is just so wonderful and evocative. Raven's Run provides you the dark, lurking horror of Shadowmoor, while Sokenzan takes you right back to the snowy mountains of Kamigawa, where the bandit warlord Godo resides along with the Aki goblins. Azet's Steam Maze takes us back to the wonderful world of Ravnica, and insane Azet, who modal in dangerous red and blue magic and whose spells often go awry. But you know what I really love about Planechase? The grief planes. And I'm not talking about the loss of someone you love, I'm talking about the suffering of your fellow Magic players. I'm a guy who can really appreciate a good grief card, one that makes others suffer, but in that suffering you too can find joy. Look at the Eon Fog. This stasis-based plane is just gorgeous, like all the rest, but lets you know that not all Planechase cards are happy-go-lucky, let's-go-nuts cards. Some of them you don't want to Planeswalk to, such as Nar Isle, or the cool creepiness of Lathe Lake, which I could imagine Millstone or Grindstone originating from, as well as Skybreen and the Fourth Sphere. It's not always a happy place in the realms of existence for our Planeswalkers, and I definitely appreciate the yin to the rest of the planes as yang, as it were. Note that Planechase release events are happening this weekend, so get yourself to your local store and check them out. The more I've learned about Planechase, the more I like it, and I can't wait to get my hands on a few of the Planechase packs myself. So that's another week in the world of Magic, folks, and until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.
Go out Friday and you want to go forever. You know that it sounds childish that you dreamt of alligators. You hope that
I always like the fatties.